Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about an incredibly convenient and functional software product called ClassPoint. This tool is designed to introduce elements of interactivity into the course of the lesson and, in general, make the lesson more memorable. We especially recommend studying this tool for those who teach hybrid courses, in which the involvement of those students who are located remotely in the classroom is especially relevant. ClassPoint is an integrated solution for Microsoft PowerPoint, thus working inside PowerPoint, which allows you to turn a presentation into an interactive lesson. A huge advantage of ClassPoint is that you do not need to leave the presentation to conduct surveys. With it, you can easily add questions directly to your slides and get instant answers from students, and thus evaluate their understanding of the material in real time. A great feature of ClassPoint is the ability of students to answer questions using any of their own devices, whether smartphones, tablets, or laptops. How much does it cost? Are there any restrictions? The app has a free version that should be enough for most of you. What are her limitations? Well, first of all, it is an opportunity to create only 3 classes or groups of students, a limit on the number of students in a group, namely no more than 25, and a limit on the number of interactive questions in a presentation, no more than 5. But as we have already said, this set should be enough for most. How will our current activities be structured? First, I will briefly demonstrate to you the work of ClassPoint, both on the part of the teacher and on the part of the student. Next, I will show you how to install this application on your computer and answer the question about installing it on interactive panels. Then, I will take a detailed look at the operation of each of the tools inside ClassPoint. So let's figure out how ClassPoint can transform your teaching experience and the student learning experience. Let's consider the possibilities of interactive ClassPoint elements embedded in a PowerPoint presentation, as well as those that are not directly embedded in it, but they can be used during a presentation. So now you see both the student's screen and the teacher's screen on the screen. The right half of the screen will be the teacher's side, or what he shows on the interactive whiteboard. For example, the left side is what we see from the student's side. In this case, the student logs in on the computer. But it can also be a phone. So from the teacher's side, we launch the presentation in slideshow mode. Please note that every time a teacher who launches a presentation should look at which class he is launching it for. In this case, my class has the code BEEB0. A student who has previously also been included in the list of students of this class must write the class code first, and then his own name. I already have a blank, so I will act as Matthias. The student on his side will see a copy of the presentation. This is a huge plus, especially for those students who do not have the best eyesight. It will be much more convenient for them than to look at the screen, especially if they are sitting quite far away from it. So, in our presentation now, I will show the work of these most interactive elements. They meet starting from the 4th slide. And here is the very first slide, on which I have an interactive element. Well, this is a question, quite simple as a demonstration. Which of these is the red planet? So, I run a survey, and it's a multiple choice question type survey. As soon as I launch it, the student on the student's side has the opportunity to respond. Options appear. And also from the teacher's side, we still see that data is being collected. Well, really, there are no answers yet. What can a teacher do at this moment? Well, he can click here, and here we just have a code that a student can enter to get to the survey page. Once again, either he will enter the page address and the class code, or everything is the same, only through a code. So, on the student's side, let's imagine that I answer, for example, and say submit. Please note that immediately on the teacher's screen it shows who answered how, but in fact you cannot do this. For example, if you want the results that are shown on the screen not to affect those who have not yet responded, in this case, you can hide the responses. In other words, you will be shown how many people responded, but it will not be shown how they responded. If you click on the upper area indicating the number of respondents to a particular item, you will see who answered exactly like that. What else is there? Let's go further. Well, this is a different type of work. This is slide drawing, when you can mark something right in the picture. You can finish something and so on. So I came up with this work option. Suggest how best to crop the photo. Well, for example, for those who lead the composition of the photo, slide drawing, the student, we turn to him, has the opportunity to do something with this photo, namely, he can write something with a thick, thin marker to mark, or some text, cancel his actions, and a small selection of colors. Well, in this case, the task is quite clear. To suggest how best to crop the photo, accordingly we need such a form. And then, for example, I will indicate this option. That is, it seems to me that the photo will look better if it is cropped like this. All the other elements are superfluous. My opinion is this. Submit. The image that I suggested will appear on the teacher's screen, and by the way, he can open it to the full screen and demonstrate, and give his own comments on this. Also reward me with an asterisk. It was a slide drawing tool. After you close the submission, you can upload all these images and then share with the students if again it is necessary. The next tool is a short answer. In this case, I ask the question, what skills do you plan to acquire at the end of the course? And a question is given to students. Student, note that I gave the opportunity to answer this question 3 times, that is, to write 3 short answers. Well, suppose we write something very simple, for example, like this. On the part of the teacher, we will see who answered and what. By the way, there is an opportunity in some such questions not to show who specifically answered what. Wonderful. We will reward everyone. After everyone has answered, by the way, you can turn their answers into a ready-made slide. This is the Insert as Slide function. If I click on it, the following will happen. I will have an additional slide on which there will be names and actually what the students answered. The next type is a word cloud. The word cloud is a fairly clear tool. I think nothing new. Here I inserted a quote and invite students to indicate who could be the author of this quote. Hint, the author of this quote is Robert Oppenheimer, but suppose I do not know who it is. And then we will have a cloud of words formed here, and ideally, of course, Oppenheimer's surname should be the largest, that is, the largest number of students will choose him, but not without interest. It will be possible to observe who else they assumed as the author of this article. And finally, next, we have the ability to upload an image upload function. Well, by the way, this case may seem interesting to you when a student can upload any of his images, and then it will be possible for the whole group to carefully consider what he uploaded there. In this case, I came up with this option when a student can upload the result of his focused letter. That is, you had a task for, say, 3 minutes for a focused letter on any topic. It will be public. In other words, everyone will be able to see what you wrote there, and after they have written it, they can take a picture of it from their phone. And if it is sitting in ClassPoint in the phone, then it is done very easily in general. If he is not on the phone, then he will need to select this picture from the computer, to which he will send it from the phone. It's a little difficult, but nevertheless quite possible. Or you can also ask them to take a picture in advance of what they wrote there, say in the first half of the lesson and during the break. Ask them to send them to your email. Or somewhere else to upload it like this. I don't have such an example right now, so I'll just upload a photo, well, for example, of my grandparents. On the teacher's side, the photo is large, so it will take quite a long time to load. This photo will be clearly visible on the teacher's side. It can be enlarged, shown to everyone, and somehow disassembled. So with this, I think it's clear. This is what concerns the interactivity tools embedded in the page. But besides them, there are also wonderful tools called presentation tools, which appear with the installation of ClassPoint inside PowerPoint, and which you can use right during the lesson. There is no need to prepare anything in advance, but right during the lesson, you can use a whole series of useful pieces. Now I will tell you about them. Let's now look at what the Presentation Tools panel is like, which is located at the bottom. Let's start looking at this panel from the leftmost edge and go further to the right all the time. So, if you click on the My Class icon, you will see first of all how many participants are registered in your class. How many of them are actually present, that is, involved in the process? Well, at the moment, of course, only I am one. And also through this option, you can change the class. For example, the next lesson you have is not this one, not this group of students, another, and the class, respectively, has a different code. Here you will change the class. Here I have only 2 classes and out of 3 possible in the free version, so I will actually stay where I am. Well, nevertheless, you know now where to do it. The second option, how to do this, how to switch to another class, is to click on the name of the class in the upper right corner, and you will get exactly to the same place. The next button is a list of all the slides that you have. If you click on it, you will see everything that you have presentations, and can easily move from one slide to another. In my opinion, this is an extremely convenient function. Then the buttons go back and forth. Well, everything is already clear here. Next comes the cute laser tool, which is needed to highlight something, and then it will disappear. For example, you are talking about something and you want to highlight some word or phrase. Just highlight it for a while. You highlight them, emphasize them, and after a while they will disappear. It's a laser. Then the drawing tools. I'll show you where they make sense. This is the case when we use whiteboard, for example. In other words, you do not need to leave the presentation in order to draw something on the screen. In general, there are even certain blanks so that it could be, well, Look for an example. I click whiteboard. There is a simple whiteboard, colored boards. This kind of board even has a Kanban option, 2 columns. Well, in general, let's say I have an option, well, some kind of like this. While the student will not see this, but in fact a new slide has already been organized in my presentation, and everything I will do will remain in my presentation. But I can add some text here. I can erase what I didn't like. That is, roughly speaking, working on a whiteboard is standard work with a whiteboard. As soon as I have finished this part, I move on to the next slide. Everything is fine. The work is going on. Then I move on to the slide. But if, for example, I want to see all my slides, please note that my slide is here. He just stayed like that. That's what I was doing. I can always return to it, and students will have it a little later if they need to see it on the screen too. I'll skip the AI quiz for now. I'll explain what it is for sure, but I'll go to the timer for now. There is a timer function here. For example, you need to set students the time to complete a task, therefore how many minutes it will be visible on their screen. As you can see, it is not displayed, but it will be visible on the main screen. There is also a wonderful function of internet access, that is, the browser. Again, there is no need to leave the presentation. Switch anywhere right away, enter the required address here, and go ahead. Of course, it is not always possible to remember all the addresses. You need to prepare in advance. Maybe you can prepare these addresses on the slide. Another useful feature, very cool, is quick poll. What can be done here? It's right here and now that you ask students some question. Well, for example, you tell them something and they have to answer yes, no, or they are not sure. As soon as you click activate this function, they all have this thing on their screens. That is, they can vote yes or no, or they are not sure. Naturally, in real time, you will immediately see the dynamics in the classroom. There is also the possibility of true/false. Well, I think it's clear how it works, or feedback again. Depending on what task you give, well, here are the options for how it can react. So it was quick polls. The next nice feature is also name picker, when you randomly choose someone from all the students who are in the class for something. Well, it is often the case when no one wants to answer, or, for example, everyone wants to answer and you need to choose only one. Well, here there is a very nice wheel of happiness when you can press auto pick and choose one single name, and it will give out who this very person is. You can choose 2 names, for example, in order to divide people into pairs. Then, the last element we have is the leaderboard. It's a board of honor, so to speak, and during the lesson, you can give them asterisks and the system will show how many. Who are the stars? Well done, he is, and how well done he is. The most interesting point, let's come back here. When we were at multiple choice, we already had the answers. We are now restarting this activity and asking students to answer again. It's just so you can see how it works. And we'll choose there, let's say C. When you click here, you'll see who specifically answered option C, and you can give asterisks to all of them because, for example, they answered correctly. And those who answered to B, you will not give them an asterisk. Okay, and when you close the submission, there is an option that you give asterisks to everyone in general. Well, for example, you want to reward everyone who, in principle, took part in this particular survey. So we went through with you all the interactivity buttons that we only have as part of the presentation, which were added together with the installation of ClassPoint. And the last thing I promised is an AI quiz. This is a quiz that is formed immediately on the spot. I would still recommend that you do it before the lesson. It is based on what you have in the presentation that he will generate a question and answers to it. And then you can check the answer and, of course, save this question as a slide. Now I will tell you that there will be a mistake, most likely. Yes, here it is a mistake, because I already have 5 interactive elements in the presentation. Let's remove these interactive elements. Exit the viewing mode. I'll just highlight these interactive elements and remove them, just delete. And now when I enter slideshow mode again, now I want to make a quiz. And for example, I liked it, and I want to save it as a slide. I got a slide with these answers right away, and it's multiple choice right away. All this is still possible probably before the lesson, but it is also possible during the lesson. Why not? So that students can see how it all works. So we're done with that. Now we will have another block where I will tell you in detail how ClassPoint is installed, how to work with ClassPoint, and actually how to get a fairly interesting presentation at the end. In this section, we will look at how to install ClassPoint on your computer. If you are in Akka, then you need to ask for technical support. The program is already installed on all interactive panels on the second, third, and fourth floors of the main campus. This is most likely an instruction for you to install on your personal computer. So for this, we need to go to the address ClassPoint. IO. When you get to this site, you need to do 2 operations. First, you need to download this program. To do this, click on the resource's name and then go to Download Center. Download Center. An important moment for someone very important. ClassPoint exists in the Windows version only. It does not exist in the Mac version. Well, if you have a Mac, then you need to put it on a computer at the university. So, after you have logged in here, you click on Download for Windows. The download has started, and here you have a brief instruction on what to do with it. First download, then install, and then log in. Well, there's even an installation guide here. Pretty cute. You can go to it later, when you really install it, or you can pause it now and at least download this software. The next step, or a parallel step, we should have a login function, that is, authorization. The first time we definitely need to do this. To do this, we need to click on Sign Up. In general, we will almost never work with you on the ClassPoint website. All the work will be done inside PowerPoint, but nevertheless, you need to go here for the first time. To do this, when we clicked on Sign Up, I highly recommend that you do not write an email, but go through an existing email. For example, your work email. Well, I'm going to choose ours now. Email the department and let's go ahead. You will have small questions, a small questionnaire, actually who you are and what you are. Click Finish Sign Up. We get into a personal space here on ClassPoint and in this personal space on ClassPoint in principle. We cannot do anything special. Here we have a nice video. You can also watch it. This explains to you what needs to be done after installation. After downloading and installing, you need to log in inside, that is, inside PowerPoint, create your first class, and of course, it is proposed to upgrade to more. The high version for a little money. We do not need to do this. There is also, as you can see, a download for Windows button that allows you to download. Well, by the way, we have already finished downloading. The file size is 59 MB. So now we have moved to classes and we can create our first class here. We can create classes through PowerPoint, but I suggest creating the first one here. What needs to be done here? Well, here I already had the blanks. For example, you can create, say, a class name for our first year seminar 2024 and a group, for example 1. Or anything you can write here is the name of the class. But the class code should be at least 4 characters, a maximum of 8, and preferably understandable, that is, numbers. Symbols, something clear, well, for example, if I say 21, the main thing is that it is more or less clear. Save it. So we have the first group. In this group, this is an important point. You need to remember, you need to add participants. You can add them in a whole bunch. One name per line. That is, one in line. That is, Masha. I'm just writing the name now. You can write the first and last name, or the last name and first name. The main thing is that you then tell the students how they are registered in the system, so that they can also enter. For example, you see how I did it, and then I say next. He has already divided them into 3 separate names and created these 3 people for me. In other words, it doesn't have to be done manually one at a time. If you have a list of your students prepared in advance, you will generally do it all quickly enough. You can delete a student by clicking on 3 dots. And that's it. Is it possible to delete a class? Yes, you can. To do this, go to Settings and select Delete Class. So this was our first class that we created, in which we still do not have participants all this later. The class code is like this. What else is interesting here? Well, so far we haven't had any activity. There can't be any reports. This is our own account. Now we have basic, or free version of the account. Once again, I have already said this, but just in case, there may be no more than 25 students in each group. But in most cases, this is exactly what we have and it's good. That is, we fit in no more than 5 interactive embedded activities in a presentation. And gamification at the basic level. In general, this is all you need to do within the framework of the ClassPoint website. After that, the ClassPoint site can be closed. Now you need to go to Downloads and run the ClassPoint file. X. So, here we have the installation. The first window opens, click Run. Select I accept the condition, Install. Yes, next. Completed. Launch ClassPoint. Well, running ClassPoint will actually mean restarting PowerPoint. I have already opened this presentation here, and immediately in PowerPoint, you will have the ClassPoint tab active, the first tab that will be immediately visible. Here we need to log in, IDS Authenticate. To do this, we again choose the same account that you used before. In my case, it is Cult. I'm going in now. Here, we are safely logged in and everything connected with our account becomes active here. Namely, these 5 functions that are available to you in the free version: multiple choice, work cloud, short answer, slide drawing and image upload, access to settings for your classes. Here they are, your classes. Here is a class that we already created then. Here is an opportunity to create a new class in the class that we have already created. If you click on it, you can add participants or export even via a CSV file. Maybe it will be convenient for someone. You can edit the class name and its code. It's still real. Well, actually, according to classes, this is this button. I think we have sorted out the installation. An important point: very rarely, but it can be like with any program, something freezes or some function freezes or PowerPoint itself freezes. It's okay. The program needs to be closed and reopened. Now let's take a detailed look at how to use the functions of the ClassPoint embedded interactivity elements. How it is done. So, we have a presentation ready-made, there is something there, and here on some slide you want to conduct, let's say, a survey. This can be, as we know, multiple choice, work cloud, short answer, slide drawing, and image upload. You decide what happens. You can click here, or you can click here if this panel is visible. If not visible, click here. For example, it will be multiple choice. In other words, you already have some question here on the slide. I don't have it right now, but let's assume it's already here. After you clicked on the multiple choice button, the element was displayed. On the right side, you see a window with settings appeared. So, what do we have here? Well, first of all, you can watch a tutorial on this particular type of interactivity. Next, how many possible answers will there be? You choose depending on your question. How much you have there in total, apt, or maybe more. Here you choose how much. Then, whether it is possible to accept multiple answers, and whether there is a correct answer. Specify. Next, how will it be displayed? Maybe as soon as you go to this slide, multiple choice will immediately start. I encourage you to experiment. Next, there are 2 additional functions here. Minimize the activity window after the activity starts. Most likely they should go in such a bundle, as well as the auto-closing of the submission after a certain number of seconds. You also need to think about whether it's worth doing this, but it's definitely worth experimenting about. This is what concerns multiple choice. Let me delete it, put the next one, it's World Cloud, and see what's here. Here we have how many answers are accepted. Up to 5 of them can be. Just one word or a word combination, or 2 times can be entered, or 3 further. Again, start activity with slide, minimize activity, and after close submission. Everything is quite simple here. Word cloud has been sorted out. We have a short answer next. It again has the ability to multiple submissions up to 3, but there is a function to hide the names of participants when viewing responses. There are situations when it is quite justified. Keep in mind that in the case of a short answer, this is available. Well, the functions we already know. After the short answer, we will look at Swami slide drawing. There is also a function to hide the name, and then the standard play options. And finally, image upload. Here you can also hide the names, standard play options. And you can request the signature of the image. Well, if it is required. Always note, there is a tutorial where you can familiarize yourself with this function in more detail. So, we have sorted out the embedded elements. There is also a function hiding behind quiz ideas. These are ideas for multiple choice. For example, there are also ideas for world. Cloud for short answer. They are not always available, where pro means they are not available now. Well, for example, here in multiple choice, there is a cute thing like this. You can use and paste it as a template. Well, for example, this is how it will look like. Look, maybe some of this will seem cute to you. I don't think that you will use it often, but nevertheless you need to know about such a function. Here is an insert template, and we have this template will stand on our slide, and we get here it is word cloud. Well, it can be changed. The picture can be changed. It looks very nice. That's it. I think we have reviewed this tool in great detail. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. I would like to say that ClassPoint is a powerful tool that can seriously improve the learning process, making it more engaging and interactive. We encourage you to try his work. Thank you for your time. If you like this video, please like it. Bye.